My soon-to-be mother-in-law is in the late stages of cervical cancer. I'm at the hospital waiting. Suddenly, someone rudely cuts in line. Just as I'm about to confront him, I notice he's with a beautiful pregnant woman. He turns to me, apologetic. Sorry, my wife's pregnant and feeling a bit unwell. We really need to get her checked quickly. His wife isn't just any woman. She's my fiancée of 8 years, who's supposedly studying abroad. I take a deep breath, pushing the anger down. Your wife's really beautiful, I say honestly. Gloria's face goes from shock to a guilty look but quickly shifts back to an unapproachable expression. On my phone, there's a message from Gloria about her intense coursework. Yet here she is, snuggling into the arms of some guy. The guy isn't a stranger either. It's John, the one she cheated with before. John holds Gloria close and smirks at me with a tone full of pride. Of course she is. Gloria, however, frowns in annoyance. What are you doing here? Before I can respond, it's my turn to register. Hi, I'm here for the gynecology department. Gloria grabs me, furious as if about to explode. Who did you come with? Are you seeing someone else behind my back? I haven't even asked whose child she's carrying, yet here she is accusing me of cheating. It's classic Gloria, always so quick to believe the worst of me. Holding the registration slip, I glance between her and my soon-to-be mother-in-law, who's lost in conversation. I keep my promise to Wendy and don't reveal the truth. I give Gloria a cold look and sigh. Think what you want. I know once she makes up her mind, no amount of explanation can change it. John throws me a challenging look, pulling Gloria closer, mocking. Is this the guy that's been chasing you for years? Pathetic. Gloria looks away, not meeting my eyes, and then focuses on the slip in my hand. You're with someone. I'm pregnant with John's kid. We're even now. In the past, hearing this would have made me angry, upset. But now I just feel hollow. Not a word more. 8 years together, quitting a high-paying job to care for her mom, supporting Gloria's education abroad, only to be labeled as a pathetic admirer. Even now, she dreams things are even. I smirk, looking at the man beside her. Hi, I'm Gloria's fiancé of 8 years. I'm not some fanboy. As I finish, Gloria shields John and scolds me. Frank, stop being so sarcastic. John was just joking. Was it necessary? Gloria used to care about my feelings around John, but now her defense of him is blatantly one-sided. Is it necessary? I've asked myself this question many times. Being reduced to a mere admirer by someone like John is the ultimate insult. Fine, there's no reasoning with you. We'll talk at home. She turns away, taking John's hand, and leaves without another glance back. In the past, I chase her, demand answers, show my anger. But now, the thought of taking even a step towards her exhausts me. The way Frank cares, you're really lucky, the doctor jokes with Wendy. I force a smile, reminded of Gloria's harsh words during our fights. Being with you is just my bad luck. On the way home, Wendy chats excitedly, maybe still happy from earlier or picking up on my sadness. When Gloria comes home, I'll urge her to marry you and have a healthy grandchild for us, she says. I barely respond, my tone flat and half-hearted. Looking at Wendy, who treats me like her own son, I can't break the truth to her. Our relationship is something she's witnessed from the start. 10 years ago, I lost my family in an earthquake, left alone until Wendy took me in, sheltered me. At 18, Gloria and I fell in love naturally. We studied in different places, keeping a long-distance relationship. Right before college ended, John came along. Unlike my reserved nature, John's charisma matched every woman's dreams, and Gloria fell hard. Once I found out, we had a massive fight. I used a breakup threat to make her promise she'd cut ties with John. Little did I know, after working to support her studies abroad, she'd end up pregnant with John's child. Now she has the audacity to tell me we're all square. That night, Gloria and John show up at my home. The moment she sees me, she wrinkles her nose in disdain. Frank, why are you so lazy you can't even cook? What can I ever expect from you? I noticed Gloria had messaged me earlier to bring John over for dinner, demanding I don't embarrass her. Carrying another man's child, bringing him here, and expecting me to cook for them. How can Gloria say these things so confidently? John wraps his arm around Gloria's waist, looking at me with nothing but scorn. Knowing she's pregnant, you don't cook and you smoke? How could I let her stay here? Gloria follows John's gaze to the cigarette butts on the floor, her disdain for me even clearer. Frank, can't you be considerate? You know I hate smoke, especially now that I'm pregnant. In the past, I would immediately apologize, desperate to keep Gloria from getting upset. But now, I didn't say a word. I just looked down, absent-mindedly lighting up a cigarette and took a drag. I used to hate smoking like Gloria did, but ever since I found out about Gloria and John's affair, I slowly started to appreciate the taste of nicotine. Every time my heart ached, I'd reach for a cigarette. Now I'm pretty hooked. She doesn't care about me, and I'm done compromising for her. Gloria's face turned crimson, not sure if it was from anger or being overwhelmed. John quickly comforted Gloria. It's not worth getting upset over someone like this. Remember, our baby is growing inside you now. Gloria immediately turned into a damsel in distress. John acted like he owned the place, fussing over everything. Right in front of me, they started joking around as if I wasn't even there. Before leaving, John went through pregnancy stuff with me in painstaking detail. I stared at the distant traffic, not hearing a word. Gloria held John's hand playfully while saying, "Make sure you visit me often, okay?" The way she acted when we first started dating. A long time has passed since then, and I was the last to see it. Turns out, she wasn't mine anymore. I smirked, my voice a bit hoarse. Can't afford a hotel room? Want me to vacate a bed for you? The moment I said that, both their faces fell. If Gloria wasn't there, John might have rushed me. Don't mind him. He just can't stand seeing me doing well, she defended. Watching them in such a display of affection left me feeling cold inside. So this is how Gloria sees me then. After seeing John off, Gloria slapped me out of nowhere. Frank, can you stop with this drama? John cares about me. What's with your attitude? If it weren't for John, I wouldn't have made it abroad these past 2 years. I touched my slightly aching face, looking at her with mockery. Taking care of you right into the sheets, huh? Gloria froze, avoiding my eyes, yet spoke with unfounded righteousness. I don't care what you think of John, but I won't let you target him. She turned to leave without waiting for my response. She never considered my feelings. She knew I was loyal and, for the sake of her mom, wouldn't do anything drastic. What she didn't know was it was my money that paid her college tuition and her studies abroad. Now I've about settled that debt. That slap shattered whatever was left between us. Watching her slightly bloated figure, I tossed the engagement ring I'd prepared into the trash. That night, Gloria unexpectedly wore a sexy nightgown and showed up in my room. She hugged me from behind, her slightly protruding belly pressing against my back. A wave of nausea surged through me. Honey, do you miss me? I wondered how Gloria could think this way, calling John honey in the day and then slipping into my room to call me the same at night. Previously, I would have longed for her to call me honey. Now it just felt gross. I pried her hands off me, pushing her away, trying to shake off that feeling. Gloria didn't get mad. She just laughed softly. Don't be jealous. John and I aren't like you think. We're just family. I replied with some disdain. Kissing friends, family from being pregnant with their kid. Huh? Gloria's eyes welled up, her tone slightly helpless. John got depressed and hurt himself saving me. He can't have kids anymore. This baby is from his sperm donation, a test tube baby. Frank, I'm doing all this to repay a debt. I didn't betray you. She tugged on my shirt, her gaze turning sincere. It's familiar she once said the same after cheating on me. I stared at Gloria for a long time. Repaying a debt is fine, but not by having a kid. Her face showed no remorse. I closed my eyes and said slowly, Gloria, let's break up. Gloria looked up, disbelief etched on her face, then angrily slapped me. Her ring cut my face, blood trickling down, but I felt no pain. I recognized that ring, it was the one I just threw in the trash. What right do you have to break up with me? Don't forget, If it weren't for my mom, you'd be dead by now. You married me out of gratitude. Why can't I have a baby with John? Frank, don't be a hypocrite. She was like a crazed beast, relentlessly berating me. I stood in silence. The words had already made me numb. Hearing this was my second time. After she calmed down, I finally explained, I wanted to marry you because I loved you, not out of some obligation. She didn't seem to hear, immediately changing the subject. She didn't believe me, so it was useless to keep trying. Okay, calm down. I'm emotional because I'm pregnant. It's just a baby, right? After this one, I'll have another for you. At that moment, my decision felt more certain. For years, Gloria had claimed not to want children or endure childbirth. And even when Wendy pressured her, I never wavered in respecting her choice, taking all the blame myself. Now, for John's child, she willingly promised to bear me one as well. Suddenly, I realized she simply didn't want to marry me or have my child. This is a tragedy. These 8 years have been a real tragedy. At that point, my heart completely turned cold. I spoke harshly, no need. I said we're breaking up. I conceded to have a child with you. What more do you want? It's just a baby. What's the harm in waiting for a while? I turned and walked out of the room, not willing to argue with her anymore. I just left a single sentence behind. We're done. I said it, break up. John came to pick up Gloria in the middle of the night. He mocked me. What's the point of being together for so many years? With a flick of my finger, she's ready to have my baby. What good are you? Worthless. I didn't say anything, just picked up a beer bottle and smashed it over his head, then ruthlessly drove it into his arm. He clutched his bleeding forehead, curled up on the ground, wailing in pain. I looked down at him, feeling a rush of satisfaction. John couldn't help but inch away. Don't come any closer. Murder is a crime. If you dare touch me, I'll call the cops. I replied with no expression. What about the stuff you pulled at school? If that got out, how many years do you think you'd do? John's face went pale instantly. He looked at me in disbelief. Bullying, stealing, drugging. He was an honor student by day, a monster by night. I stumbled upon it by accident, and when I told Gloria, she didn't believe me, even threatened me, saying she'd harm herself if I leaked a single word. Gloria immediately stood in front of John, glaring at me angrily. Frank, are you out of your mind? If anything happens to John, I won't let you off. As they left, they slammed the door. They both told me, you'll regret this. Gloria believed I would chase after her, begging for her to come back. She thought I'd never leave because I loved her, especially since I'd been the one to apologize most of the time in these 8 years. She still thought I was just angry, not serious about breaking up. After all, I'd forgiven her for other little flings before. A broken mirror, even if pieced back together, is never the same. Whenever the memories resurfaced, it hurt all over again, as if reliving it. Her indifference and coldness gradually drained my feelings. I regret not putting John behind bars the year I found out about the cheating. When I visited Wendy, Gloria showed up with a bunch of gifts. Wendy spotted Gloria's belly right away, pulling us both in with a beaming smile, and started pushing for a wedding. I was wondering why you've been so distracted lately, Frank. Turns out you had a surprise for me. What's there to hide? I looked uncomfortable and hesitated to reveal the truth. Auntie, Wendy's condition couldn't take a shock, but I didn't want to hide it. I didn't want to wear this hat of infidelity, nor raise someone else's child. Gloria froze, made an excuse about being hungry, and quickly dragged me to the kitchen. Frank, my mom's not well. She can't take any stress. Gloria stared me down. So what? I was annoyed, pretty much guessing what she wanted but asked anyway. So you accept this baby. We're going to get married anyway. And about you with another woman at the gynecologist's, I let that slide. It's just a kid, right? I coldly stared at the woman in front of me. Gloria thought that just because she cheated, I would too. That I'd swallow my pride for her and John. But life's not that generous. She matched my gaze, showing a bit of resignation. My mom saved your life, and you won't even do this? You're so ungrateful. Even though I'd given up on her, hearing this still stung a little. I didn't want to argue anymore. In these 8 years, she'd used her mother's life-saving act against me countless times. Now I've had enough. Gloria thought my silence was agreement, so she left the kitchen, cradling her belly. The cheerful chatter from the living room seeped into the kitchen, a cozy scene that felt cold to me. I slowly joined them and broke their little moment. "Auntie, about this child." Gloria jumped up as soon as I spoke, trying to drag me away. "If you dare say anything, I'll never forgive you." In the past, hearing that, I would have apologized, bent to her will, afraid of a breakup. Now that she says it again, I feel nothing. Her forgiveness doesn't matter anymore. I locked eyes with her, unmoved, and softly said, "This child isn't mine." Wendy looked at Gloria in shock, then loudly demanded answers. "Whose is it?" "Gloria, who did you hook up with overseas? Do you even know what Frank's done for you?" Before Wendy could finish, Gloria cut her off angrily. "Enough! What has he done? Isn't this what he owes us?" Gloria's phone rang, her expression softened, and she picked it up, moving to the balcony. But as soon as she answered, panic crept into her face. Wendy started having trouble breathing, turning red in the face. "Mom, I gotta take care of something. I'll be back." Gloria rushed out with her bag, not even taking her jacket. "I'm telling you, abort that child," Wendy shouted at Gloria's departing figure. "I won't abort this child." Gloria left without looking back. Wendy, furious, fainted on the spot. Even after I got Wendy to the hospital, I couldn't get hold of Gloria. I knew the call she got was from John. I saw his post. A photo of them kissing, captioned, "Grateful for you." I couldn't help recalling college days when Gloria would sneak off after mysterious calls, no matter what we were doing. She said she was busy with school, and I didn't question it. Looking back, John was taunting me. I chuckled bitterly. Now I understand. I was never Gloria's first choice, just someone she'd leave at a beckon. John still dared to taunt me. Guess I didn't teach him enough of a lesson. I've been waiting, but Gloria still didn't show up when Wendy finally woke up. No idea if she missed my message or just chose not to read it. The moment Wendy was fully awake, she grabbed my hand, choking back tears, and apologized on Gloria's behalf. I explained everything to her. Wendy stayed silent for a long time, then sighed. "I know you were with Gloria for 8 years, largely because of me. I was selfish, wanting her to have someone to rely on. I never meant for it to turn out like this. Frank, you've given enough over the years. It's time to think about yourself. You don't owe us anything anymore." The weight I'd been carrying for so long suddenly lifted. I'd repaid the favor I owed for 10 years. I was surprised she wasn't trying to patch things up between Gloria and me, but encouraged me to move on. It's time I live for myself now. Our nosy neighbor next door caught wind of what happened on that day. She exaggerated everything, and soon everyone was saying Gloria was the neighborhood's wild woman, carrying someone else's child. Gloria threatened me, demanding I clear her name, or else she'd never speak to me again. I ignored her. Her affairs are her business, not mine. Gloria and John's reputations were ruined in the community. I got back into my old line of work, quickly landing a job at a decent company. Focusing solely on my work, I soon earned my boss's approval. Thanks to Wendy, I didn't hate Gloria, so I simply ignored her. Even though I wasn't reaching out to Gloria, she began trying to reminisce more frequently. I blocked her. Today, Gloria sent an afternoon snack to everyone at my work, claiming to be my girlfriend. "Gloria, why are you doing this?" I felt frustrated watching her. Now everyone at work thinks I have a pregnant girlfriend. It's like being put on the spot. So I had to clarify to everyone that Gloria is my ex, and the baby isn't mine. Instantly, their glances shifted. Gloria bit her lip, embarrassed, and begged me to stop talking. For 8 years, Gloria never let me go public with our relationship. She didn't bring me an afternoon snack, nor even picked me up after work. Now, after we've broken up, she wants to do what a girlfriend should. The more she did, the more I felt like my past self wasn't worth it. Gloria wasn't mad after I exposed her. She spoke softly. "Frank, I just found out you were taking my mom for a checkup that day. I knew where she was going, So I interrupted her. I don't want to hear it. All I know is we're done. Gloria looked hurt but still clung to my hand, pleading, Frank, I was wrong before. I do love you. I can't live without you. Can we stop this? I pulled my hand away, using a tissue to wipe it in disgust as I walked off. The second she touched me, it felt like thousands of worms crawling over that skin. No real injury, just repulsive. I think I made myself clear. I don't believe Gloria truly realized her mistakes. She just noticed her loyal follower had enough and panicked. Her small act of vulnerability means nothing to me. You told me you'd never leave me. Gloria's bitter voice followed. I paused, telling her I take it back. Gloria said she'd only love me, but she spread that love around. If she couldn't keep her promise, she shouldn't expect me to keep mine. My words didn't deter her. Gloria seemed even more determined. One evening, she showed up after work with bags of groceries, saying she was going to cook me a love dinner. I couldn't turn her down, so I let her do it. In 8 years, Gloria never cooked a meal for me, no matter how much I asked. Yet here she was, pregnant, going out of her way to cook. Watching her cook while trying not to vomit disgusted me. Not an ounce of pity surfaced. Just as she finished cooking, John arrived. He snatched the spatula from her, worry in his eyes. You're pregnant, and he's making you cook? Gloria, shocking John, snapped, I chose to. It's not Frank's fault. And don't dare call him names. John looked at her in disbelief. Gloria, you're defending him. It was the first time she ever stood up for me in front of John. I had waited so long for this, but now that it came after our breakup, I didn't want it anymore. John wanted to say more, but Gloria impatiently pushed him out. Leave me alone. John clenched his fists, glaring at me before turning to Gloria, looking lost and pitiful. Gloria? Even you? What's the point of me living then? Gloria glanced at John but stopped short of scolding, coldly saying, wait, I'm busy now. For the first time, I saw Gloria turn John down, found out she could treat him like this too. Yet John didn't listen, muttering as he left. The door's slam made Gloria stiffen. I dumped all the dishes into the trash right in front of her. Aren't you going after him? Gloria looked at me, then the door and said, John has depression. He could get into trouble. Sorry. She headed out without looking back. I kinda saw it coming, so I wasn't surprised at all. Just annoyed that my kitchen got messy. Gloria hadn't reached out to me for days, but she showed up on my birthday. She brought a bouquet of roses and a cute little gift box. No one had celebrated my birthday in ages, so it was nice that she remembered. At first, she was the one who'd remember it, but after we started living apart, neither of us brought it up, so it slipped her mind. But after we broke up, she suddenly decided to remember. I glanced behind her and saw John lurking. I looked at her gift but didn't take it. I just said flatly, I don't need your gift or well wishes. Gloria seemed taken aback, a bit hurt, and quietly said, Can you not be like this? I didn't answer. I just looked at John in the distance. If it bothers you, I can terminate the pregnancy, she said. As long as you agree to get back together. I looked at her in shock, then at her slightly swollen belly, and shook my head indifferently. It's got nothing to do with me. Gloria clung to me as if I were her last hope. I can get rid of the baby right now, okay? I know I was wrong. John overheard Gloria's words and charged over, pushing me to the ground. Before I could react, Gloria was already furious. She shoved John and yelled, How dare you push him? It's all your fault. Your fault. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't have broken up. Gloria started punching John with all her might. John looked at her in disbelief. Gloria, you've got it wrong. The more he talked, the harder Gloria hit him. Eventually, she passed out and was rushed to the hospital. The gift box fell and revealed a navy blue tie, a well-thought-out gift. But it was the identical tie John wore today. I casually tossed Gloria's gift into the trash. Trash belongs in the trash. Later, Gloria promised to make up for every birthday she missed. I'd take whatever she gives and toss it in front of her. Watching her feel desperate and helpless is oddly satisfying. Gloria kept the baby. John messaged me to gloat, so what if she likes you now? She's pregnant with my baby. You can't beat me. I found it amusing. He was the interloper all along, yet he thought I was competing with him, that my actions caused this mess. He has no clue what being a homewrecker entails. Don't blame me. Gloria kept begging me to visit her in the hospital. After who knows how many messages, I agreed. I brought some bananas, the one thing she hates, into her room. Her face froze for a second. She knew I did it on purpose, but she couldn't be angry or show any discontent. She tried to reminisce, but I cut her off harshly. Ever thought John's depression might be faked? Gloria was momentarily confused. Why do you think he just happened to save you, then just happened to become infertile, and even more so, just happened to donate his sperm? Gloria pondered for a moment, her face turning sour. Seeing my point made, I dropped some documents for her and left. I know her. She can't handle deception, even if it's for her own good. I discovered John orchestrated her accident. If she thinks it through, she'd see the connections. But her heart leans toward John. Now that the lies are exposed, can this love continue? Not long after leaving, I heard Gloria's painful screams from the room. Being betrayed by the one you love is a harsh reality. Wendy said Gloria eventually lost the child. Doctors warned that terminating the pregnancy might render her infertile. But Gloria didn't care. She wanted to correct her mistake. If the hospital wouldn't help, she'd make herself fall to miscarry. She really can't have kids now. I felt a pang of sadness when I heard the news. For the child she once clung to so desperately, she'd now do anything to lose it. Gloria was indeed ruthless. As soon as she was discharged, she came looking for me. Pale and frail, she handed me a box of dumplings. "Frank, will you be with me now?" Barely had she spoken when John slammed his fist into the wall behind her. Gloria's expression didn't change. She kept pleading with me. I glanced at John with a smirk, then accepted the dumplings from Gloria. I tossed them into the trash right in front of John's frustrated eyes. His fists clenched as he stared at me. Gloria looked at the trash can in disbelief, then back at me, her voice trembling with tears. "Frank, we were together for 8 years, shared so many beautiful memories. How can you just give up?" I looked her right in the eye and asked, "And how did you treat me in those 8 years?" She opened her mouth, realizing she had nothing to defend herself with. She'd always relished her position of power in the relationship. My feelings never mattered to her. She counted on my love, knowing I'd get disappointed and hurt. But now that I don't love her anymore, she acts like a lovesick fool, begging for me back. Gloria really is pathetic. Eventually, all she could muster was a weak, "I'm sorry." When I turned to leave, Gloria clung to my leg, kneeling. "Frank, my mom has cancer. I only have you left. Don't give up on me, okay? I can change, just give me a chance. I promise I'll make you happy." Her cries were heart-wrenching, but my heart felt dead inside. It's too late, everything's too late. Why does she think I'd forgive her? I couldn't get away, so I kicked at her hem. Gloria wailed as John rushed over to block my way. He still had the scar from where I'd hit him before, yet stubbornly tried to get in my way. I slapped him hard twice, so hard that one of his front teeth flew out. He screamed and lunged at me, only to find he couldn't move. Looking down, he saw Gloria clinging to his leg, shouting, "Frank, run." At this moment, the way John and I were treated switched places. Gloria, she really is heartless. She doesn't love me, nor John. She only loves herself. At that moment, John's anger boiled over, and he slapped Gloria hard twice. Gloria held her face, shocked, and looked at him. "You dare hit me? I'm gonna fight you." The two of them went at it, not holding back at all. I sat by and watched them beat each other bloody. In the end, Gloria was bleeding heavily below, and John had a busted head. They were both taken away in an ambulance. Their mutual brawl was posted online and went viral. Soon, people dug up the story of a lover and a pregnant woman who cheated, sparking public mockery. Their reputations were completely ruined, becoming outcasts. After focusing on myself, I realized everything around me started going well. Turns out, when you love yourself, the world loves you back. When Wendy passed, I saw Gloria again. Her cheeks and eye sockets were sunken, Skin pale, she looked like she'd aged 10 years. Because of her terrible reputation, Gloria couldn't even hold a place at the memorial. She could only watch as I carried her mom's memorial, took her place, and inherited her mom's estate. She couldn't even squeeze in. After the funeral ended, Gloria found me and knelt in front of me. "Frank, please give me a way out." I looked at her, chuckling softly. Now there's nothing left of that high and mighty person in my memory. I can't understand what I once loved about her. Maybe my love just put a filter on her. Did she really think I was easy to push around? Seeing me silent, Gloria clung to my pant leg, begging me. "Frank, my mom's last wish was for me to have a good life. Frank, will you marry me?" I kicked her aside. It was her mom who saved me, not her. I've already been good enough to her all these years. Looking down at Gloria, my voice dripped with sarcasm. "You had a kid and got married behind my back, and you can still say that?" Gloria slumped to the ground. "You knew?" But she couldn't give up and continued. "But I've been with you for 8 years. Frank, trust me, I really love you." I didn't answer her. 8 years together, yet she didn't spare me either. Her remorse now is worth nothing. People say belated affections are cheaper than grass. Gloria's love is no different. I found out John tricked Gloria into having a kid and that they got married abroad. Gloria still hoped to marry me domestically, riding on her mom's influence. Gloria really wanted to have it all. I filed a lawsuit against John. Gloria came to beg me to spare John. She kneeled before me, eyes full of pleading. "I've already lost you after all these years being with you. He's all I have now. Can't you just let it go?" I firmly answered, no. I told her that I couldn't forgive those who harm others on behalf of those suffering women, nor could I stay silent as they suffered. Someone needs to speak up for them. I've hidden the truth for John long enough. It's time to tell it. I don't believe Gloria was entirely clueless. She just pretended so she could separate herself from it all. Gloria suddenly lost her support, collapsing to the ground. What about me? What should I do? Looking at her, a wave of sadness washed over me. I worked part-time jobs to support her studies, always taking care of things so she wouldn't worry. Once abroad, she quickly latched onto John. Now her mom's gone, John's in prison, and she wants to rely on me again. The world doesn't work that way. After Gloria left, she never contacted me again. Later, John was sentenced to life imprisonment. I saw Gloria when visiting the prison. She quickly hid her face and ran when she saw me. She was so thin and rough-looking that I barely recognized her. John stood up angrily when he saw me, gripping the bars tightly, glaring with vicious eyes. "It's all your fault. I'll kill you." I looked at him mockingly, tapping my phone against the bars. "Are you still dreaming?" John clenched his fists, glaring at me with hatred. "Did you come just to laugh at me? Satisfied now?" I shook my head. All these years, I never saw him as a rival. But he was always trying to find a way to get under my skin through Gloria, provoking and mocking me. Screw that. If you hadn't taken the first place in that competition, I would have been guaranteed a spot. You, an orphan, must have used dirty tactics, didn't you? Don't think I don't know. At this point, I finally got it. The fact I won the competition and he didn't had left John holding a grudge. I asked him, "So, that's why you hooked up with Gloria?" Hearing Gloria's name, John laughed maniacally. "Yeah, that woman was easy pickings. No satisfaction there. I tricked her into getting pregnant, but she risked her ability to have kids just to terminate it. She really cared about you." Huh? I guess I lost on that front. John got it wrong. There were no winners here, we all lost. If Gloria loved me, John wouldn't have been in the picture. If she loved John, she wouldn't have wanted to marry me after her marriage and return to the country. She clearly didn't love anyone. At the very least, not me. After that, I never saw him again. I heard John couldn't take it in there and ended up ending his own life. And Gloria? I didn't see her anymore until my first company went public. I thought I saw her then. She was by the roadside with a stall, covered in scars, with someone else's kid by her side. She kept her head down, lost in the crowd. I held my wife's hand and walked in the opposite direction. Our paths would never cross again. For the rest of my life, I'm with the one who loves me.